Can you guess what ink this is? It's avocado, and I'm gonna show you how to make this eco-friendly ink with your dip pens for calligraphy. You might be asking, but why work with natural inks when we have so many synthetic inks available? First, it's eco-friendly. That means it's not harmful to the environment when you dispose of them. Secondly, natural inks are just fascinating. They're made up of different color particles and have their own character. The color might change at different times, and different preparation methods yield different colors. And I really love the wabi-sabi philosophy of simplicity, purity, and embracing transience and imperfection. Just like nature versus machine-made. So how do we make avocado ink? I've already shown the steps of how to make avocado ink for brush lettering, so I'll leave the link here and in the description box. We just need to take a few more steps before we can use it for our dip pens. The first additional step is that we need to have it a lot more concentrated than what we already have when we were using it for brush calligraphy. So back into the pot of boiling water it goes, so that more water evaporates and the ink is thicker. When you take it out of the double boiler of the pot depends on the strength of your flame. Mine took about 15 minutes to get it as thick as this. Here's a better look at the consistency and color of the ink outside the beaker. You're really aiming for something of the consistency of heavy cream. Then, to make sure that the avocado color particles in the water hold together, you need a binder. Now in the free Natural Inks Playbook, which you can find in the description box below, I talked about stage 3 of combine. Now this is that stage, and you will need to add a binder to hold the ink together. Our binder of choice today is gum arabic. It comes in a solution form as well. Using a dropper, add a few drops of the gum arabic binder to your avocado peel ink and make sure that the whole ink is well mixed. Then keep testing on paper to see if you like the consistency, because gum arabic also makes the ink thicker. If you're seeing some spider webbing or bleeding in your lettering, it could be that you need to add more gum arabic. But I also found that paper makes a big difference. Now in this video, I really wanted to show you how the ink behaves differently depending on what paper you're using. I'm using 2 different kinds of paper in this video, so you can see the comparison. This is Bristol paper. It's smooth, so your pen tines won't catch on the paper fibers, especially when you're doing your upstrokes. And I also love how when the ink dries, there is this raised texture like an embossed feel, as not all the color particles get absorbed into the paper. So there's some that dries on the surface, that's what gives it the texture. But I do think that a smooth paper lacks the romanticism of watercolor paper because of the lack of texture on the surface. But using avocado peel ink on it is a breeze, and I'll show you what I mean. Here I've already lettered out the words congratulations, and I'm only left with a few swashes. If you want to see me lettering the whole word, don't worry, I'll show you how I do it on watercolor paper in a little while. But in this section for now, I just want to show you how the smooth surface of the Bristol paper make using the avocado ink on the pen flow more easily. I'm using the Nico G nib for this piece. On the right side, you can see how the exit stroke of the letter S forms a ligature with the bar of T. You guys know that I love symmetry, so I'm going to mirror that for the first T of the word too. And for the swash, I use a light pressure on the dip pen so that I get thin lines. Now I'm doing a descender loop for G with a flourish on the right. And here is a finished piece on Bristol paper. Next, I also tried using the avocado peel ink on watercolor paper, and this is the one I used. I used the hot press version because it is smoother than a cold press version, but it still has some texture, which is nice when you're creating a card. But I think you can see that there's some spider webbing and bleeding of the avocado ink. This is not an indication of the quality of the paper at all, but really, when you're working with natural inks, it is the fit between the kind of paper you use and the ink that is important. Because different paper have different absorbencies or are sized differently. So what you're looking for is a good fit between the ink and the paper. Let me take you through how I letter the full word on watercolor paper. So let's start with the letter C. As you create the curved downstroke, I increase the pressure on the pen so that we get a thicker line. As I move up to create the exit stroke, I decrease pressure so that I get a thinner line. With the ink on this watercolor paper, I do find it more challenging to do upstrokes compared to the Bristol paper. You can already see quite a bit of bleeding of the ink, even after I added a few more drops of gum arabic. Now for the G, I don't complete the descender loop yet, but I move on to the next letter R first. That's because I want to know how long the word is first so that I know how long the flourish needs to be. The same principle applies for the rest of the letters, thick lines and higher pen pressure for downstrokes, and thin lines with less pressure for upstrokes. I'm also not lettering the bar for the first T either, and I'm leaving it at the end. Neither do I complete the bar for the second T because I'll be forming a ligature with the letter S at the end. Now I'm doing the descender loop for G with a flourish, and you can see that the ink is not flowing so well. But that's okay, because we can always touch up later. I want to bring back what I mentioned earlier about the Japanese concept of wabi-sabi. Sometimes we demand perfection, and we think that things should go a certain way. That can be really stressful. Wabi-sabi has been such a helpful philosophy for me, to be in tune with my own self-awareness and to be in flow. And even when things are not perfect, there is beauty in imperfection. I don't see calligraphy as an art to pursue to the point of perfection. I love the slow, meditative, mindful aspects of it. So coming back to the ink, if it's not flowing so well, it's helpful to just choose a thought, oh, that's interesting, I wonder what it tells me about the ink, or the paper, or the choice of pen nib, or how I write. As opposed to feeling frustrated, because that takes the pleasure out of doing calligraphy. I think of doing calligraphy as a form of self-care. What do you love about calligraphy? Let me know in the comments. If you want to see more calligraphy videos, do like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Alright, here's a comparison of the avocado ink on both papers. Which one do you prefer? In the spirit of Inktober, I'll be working with more natural inks this month. I'm so excited to share my love for creating natural inks with you, and I have a free playbook for you if you're interested in creating natural inks too. It takes you through the basics so that you can create projects just like this one. Don't forget to let me know what you love about doing calligraphy in the comments below. Thanks for watching.